Vakya, which recurs again and again in the Kathamrita in the Gospel, and that is about the truth, adherence to truth. Just one instance I'll give you. 21st July 1883, Thakur had gone to Adhar Babu's house. There he tells everyone, course of discussion, this is in Bengali, সত্যতে থাকবে তাহলেই ঈশ্বর লাভ হবে. Remain established in truth, only then you will reach God. সত্যই হচ্ছে কলির তপস্যা. These are the things that Thakur has said about Satya Nishtha. So on this very important topic, I would now request Reverend Swami Shantatamananda Maharaj for his initial comments.
ओम निरंजनम नित्यमनंतरूपम भक्तानुकंपादितविक्रम वै ईशावतारं परमेशमेड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामि. यथाग्निर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हि या सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहं. परतत्त्वे सदा लीनो रामकृष्णस्समाज्ञया यो धर्मस्थापनरतो वीरेशं नमाम्यहम्. Dear Swami Atma Shraddhananji, dear Swami Shraddhananji, and the assembled devotees, we have had almost it's much more than 1.5 days of wonderful spiritual discourses on different aspects of Swamiji's teachings, life, and also Mother as Guru. Now this session is dedicated to Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna's adherence to truth. Sattya Vajan Adhinata Parasri Matru Savan Inse Harina Mileto Tulsi Jhoot Javan. It's a famous saying of Tulsidas. But Sri Ramakrishna's adherence to truth was even much more than that. Truth and God, and you can say obverse and reverse of the same coin. Truth is Brahman. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. So I think in Sri Ramakrishna say, in a case, it was the seeking of the highest and staying established there. I think that was probably his concept of truth. But of course, in the process, unless we start at the existential level, at the transactional level, हम सबको हर दिन का जो जिस चीज़ करते रहते हैं उसके अंदर सत्य की निष्ठा बहुत ही ज़रूरत है. Without that, it's impossible to reach that highest idea of Satya, namely God or Brahman. Because Ramakrishna inherited this also in one way from his great father, the great Sridharam Chattopadhyay. Because just because of his adherence to truth, he gave up everything, his belongings, and just virtually walked away empty-handed with his family because he wanted to stick to truth. Obviously, born in such a great family, even in an earthly sense, leave alone his being an incarnation, then also obviously that was how he began his life. So it all started even at the time of the Upanayana ceremony, because he had somehow given word to that Dhani Kamagni that from you I will receive the first Bhiksha. In the Upanayana ceremony, the boy, he becomes a real Brahmin only after Janmana Jayate Shudra. Samskarat Vijauchyate. Only the samskara, the Upanayana samskara alone gives him the first sign of being a Brahmana. So then after that, the first Bhiksha is so important. And somehow this Dhani extracted this word from him that he would receive his first Bhiksha after Upanayana from her. And when he said this, everybody was aghast and they said, how is it possible? She is Shudra caste. But he said then See, if I cannot stick to truth, what is the point of Upanayana? Upanayana itself is a first step to being established in truth. If I have to break the vows, if I have to break my adherence to truth even at the first instance after Upanayana, it's better I don't undergo that ceremony at all. So then they have to finally yield to him. So everywhere it was, you will find that initially probably it was his own effort, but at one point of time it appeared as if Satya, truth had caught hold of him, and he had to be in that state all the time. Truth never deserted him or walked away from him even for a moment in his life. So there are very important, wonderful incidents. Although he, at one point of time, he offered everything to the Holy Mother. Here is your fame, here is anything. All he could offer, but not truth. Because he said, मैं सत्य भी अर्पण कर दूं, then किसके ऊपर आधार पर रहेगा मेरा अर्पण भी? Even his offering would become mithya because if he gives up satya. And several beautiful incidents. Of course, our great Swamis will refer to many of them, but I'll just give you a sample here and there. That very famous incident when he went to that Shamali's house where he had gone to meet him. He used to meet him once in a way, and then he had offered to give him some opium because Thakur was suffering from stomach trouble. So they had discussed, of course, the moment when he talks, he forgets everything else. So Malik also had talked, and then he had gone inside his house. And Thakur suddenly remembered that I was to take some opium from him. So he asked the कर्मचारी, उन्होंने एक पेपर में उसका मोड़ के दिया. But the moment Sri Ramakrishna took it, so close is Dakshineshwar, many of you have seen both the places. यहाँ से वहाँ जा नहीं पा रहे. The moment he turns towards Dakshineshwar, कुछ भी दिख नहीं रहा था उनका. But the moment he turns back to Sukumali's house, everything is clear. After several unsuccessful attempts, finally he remembered. See, it would not, in 99.99% of cases, it wouldn't even occur that it is a deviation from truth. क्योंकि उनसे ही चीज उनका ही था. It was belonging to the Shambhu Malik. So there was nothing untruth about it in that sense. But he said, I had said that I would receive it from you, but I received it from the Karmachari. Even that minimal deviation was not possible in his life. Then through the window, Shambhu, मैं फेंक दिया, I have thrown. When he turned the other side, he was clearly able to see Dakshineshwar. So that famous incident from a nearby garden, he used to ask him to bring flowers for worship. One day the Malikan had changed. As usual, the person went and brought the flowers, but Sri Ramakrishna could not offer. And he came to know because the previous owner had given permission to take flowers, but from the new owner he had not taken permission. So he could not offer those flowers to Mother. So there are, very beautiful incidents how he was tested. And Nath was always very keen and he wanted to put everything to test that way. So he knew that Sri Ramakrishna could not bear the touch of metal or coin. He had completely renounced Kamini and Kanchan. So one day when he had gone to the grove site for easing himself, he had put a coin beneath his bed, and he came back and Sri Ramakrishna was literally jumping about. He was so much pained by that just touching that bed. Beneath it was a coin. It was not on the surface. It was beneath. Then nobody could understand. Then someone took out the bed and they dusted it. They found then the coin dropped onto the floor. And Naren really hung his head in remorse. So again together they had gone somewhere. And then when they were about to leave, Sri Ramakrishna asked for some water. Some person brought it. Thakur just saw, but he could not touch it. He came away. So Naren had a suspicion. How is it? When he found out that literally the person was of a different character, and Sri Ramakrishna could touch it. So, in his case, everything, it was thought, word, and deed, in every sense, complete adherence. And he would never accept such sentences, if possible, I will do it. So, patwari buddhi kate the. This is that calculating mind, saying that, oh, it's adherence to truth, by saying no. Say yes or no. You have to do that. And then, see, actually, because his experiences were of such extraordinary nature, I think everything is ultimately related to that his realization or being established in the highest truth. Then, when it percolated down to the existential level, it manifested in all his actions, the way he would behave with people, he would interact with people, talk to people, and so on. Because that is why, when he would take up any practice, totally that and that alone, nothing else. Absolute purity, absolute truth in that sense, nothing else is added to that. See, when you add something else, then the quality of it becomes different. There's no longer that truth or one-pointedness or adherence is there. So when he practiced any particular discipline, only that. When he, for some time, when he had a desire to experience the truth, of course, again, everything was his search for the highest truth. He wanted to experience truth as the Islam, the religion would propagate or would show. And during that time, he completely gave up the idea of even entering the Kali temple. That was his life. So, it's a very extraordinary life, completely rooted in the highest truth. And then, of course, obviously, in the transactional world also, he would manifest it in all his actions. So, anything that one would wonder, someone he wanted to smoke hubble bubble once in the silver, that pipe and all that. He did, gone afterward, once and for all. He had a desire once to wear very costly shawl, and Mathur Prabhu brought it. He once put on the shawl, removed it. See what happens in all other cases. When you experience something, you have the desire to experience it 1,000 times. But in his case, because it was the truth in that sense, know what it is, that's the end of it, and he would not have a second attempt or any further desire to experience it. Because it's a very extraordinarily interesting life, and I'm sure our Maharajis, both Atma Shraddhanji and Shantatamananda will give many insightful findings from Sri Ramakrishna's life. So let's finally end this session, because it's something very important for spiritual life, our adherence to truth. Let us see at what level we can start our journey of adhering to truth. Namaskar.